Hi, I'm Dave, and we're here to talk about the use of RMIS by the TII family of companies to set up and maintain carriers. So this video is being produced for agents, agent personnel, and terminal personnel of the TII family. RMIS is a third-party service. We use their services to set up and maintain the status of carriers to whom we'd like to broker. To start using RMIS, you'll go to the website that they've set up specifically for the TII family, which is tiicarriers.com. Again, that's tiicarriers.com. Here's the screen you'll see when you enter that website. We're the client, so you do not want to click here to log into your account, otherwise you won't be able to get in. That's the portal that the carriers use. You'll click Client Login and get in that way. The folks here in Pittsburgh in the carrier setup department maintain the passwords and the logins, so if you need a login for any of your office people, feel free to contact us and we can make that happen. Let's go through the process of extending an invitation to a carrier. It's an easy process. You go to Carrier, Create Invitation. You don't need to enter the client insured number, as it says that's optional. And that's it. The invitation has been sent to the carrier. You'll get a copy of that, and we'll take a look at that in just a second so you'll know what it looks like. It's important to note that the carrier is getting an invitation from RMIS from the TII family. So they won't make reference in this email to the carrier of the specific TII entity you're using. Again, this is a TII family email, so let your carriers know as you're telling them you're sending them an invitation that they're going to get it from RMIS from the TII family. And to get started, the carrier simply clicks there. That's the topic of another video. Let's go back to our dashboard. And this is the primary place you'll work within RMIS. It's split into two halves. The upper half is only for information and carriers that have been entered in the last 60 minutes. The bottom half of the screen enables you to go back as far as you would like. You have to hit refresh to get the most current information. The system will not refresh by itself. And the longer the period of time you select, the longer it will take to pull in the carrier. So the carrier's names are listed. It tells us what step in the process they're in. A carrier will not show on the dashboard until they've begun the process. If they're in the middle of the process, you can see what stage they're in. So this carrier, Desert River, is currently working on one of the broker carrier agreements. The far right column indicates if the carrier is certified or not certified. Remember to hit refresh to get the most current information. However, the dashboard doesn't update as quickly as the information in the system. So if you click on the carrier, you will get their most current status, regardless of what the dashboard says. In this particular case, the carrier is not certified, and we'll talk more about non-certification reasons. So you can get to a carrier by one of two ways. If you see them on the dashboard, simply click on the carrier name, or you can do a search. The search can be by carrier name, and there's the same carrier we were just looking at. Or you can do an advanced search by any of these different parameters, including their MC number or DOT number. Let's take a look at this particular carrier. There are a number of tabs. To look at a tab or close it, simply work the plus or the minus sign to open it up or close that tab. The basic information pulled in from the FMCSA system. Off to the left, you'll see their MC number, the RMIS carrier ID number that they were assigned, as well as their DOT number. It indicates who the pay to is. In this case, it's a factor, financial carrier. We already spoke about the certification status of this carrier. They're not currently certified. The W-9 information is here. This is a frequent cause of non-certification. The carrier must enter their W-9 information exactly or nearly exactly as how they entered it with the IRS. So if you were a carrier and want to see what was entered on the W-9, here's where you would go. You are not entitled to see a carrier's SS number if they entered a social instead of a W-9 EIN number. The Agreement Information tab is important. Carriers have the choice as to which of our entities to sign up with. They can sign up with 1, 12, or any number in between of the TII entities. This is a common source of confusion among the carriers too, because they're given the option of opting out of any of the entities. If they check boxes within the setup packet, they'll opt out of signing in for that carrier or signing up for that carrier. That may seem counterintuitive, but that is intentional. So encourage your carriers to not check any of the boxes. By doing that, they'll be signing up for all of the TII entities at one time. So if you need to know if a carrier did the setup packet for the particular TII broker you're using, here's where you would go, the Carrier Agreement tab. Certificate information. Here's where you would find the insurance certificate information on that carrier. The only insurances we require are auto liability and cargo. In this case, the carrier has both, and they're valid. If you'd like to see the certificate itself, simply click on the link that says View Certificate Image, and here's a standard looking insurance certificate. Carrier notes. Any user can enter carrier notes. If you've had a problem with the carrier and you'd like to put a note in the system so that all other TII users can be aware of that problem or issue, here's where you would do it. Please be specific, please be objective, and please enter either your name or your terminal code. So if there are questions at any time in the future, we'll know who entered the comment and we'll know who to reach out to for further information. And finally, Documents tab. In this case, the carrier entered a notice of assignment. They use a factoring company. So here's a copy of their factoring agreement. And in this case, that's not all they entered. They also entered their authority, which was unnecessary. It doesn't hurt anything for them to enter all these additional documents, but the only thing they really needed to add was their factoring company assignment letter. Documents as well as notes stay in the RMIS system forever. There's no expiration. Here's a tab you can't work with, but you might use it from time to time to see if an override was created for a carrier. Our carrier qualifications haven't changed as a result of implementing RMIS. We do have the ability to override certain requirements under certain circumstances. And by we, I'm referring to the carrier setup people and the operations management here in Pittsburgh. So we can come into the system and create a new override for that carrier for any one of the potential 15 or so categories that could cause a disqualification. We'll also set an expiration date, which could be anywhere from a few hours to a few years. So if there had been an override entered for this carrier, you would see it listed here. %90 or more of all carriers have already done an RMIS setup. So for those carriers, the basic information is already within RMIS and the setup is pretty easy and quick. We do not subscribe to RMIS customer support for carriers. So if a carrier were to call RMIS, they'll be sent back to the Pittsburgh office. They also might call you for help. We're willing to assist carriers, but we can't sit with them through the entire setup process. Carriers can also log into the system. They can do that to update their W-9 if there was a mismatch, and that is one of our qualifications. They can add additional entities by signing additional contracts. They can update their information. Here are the primary reasons for carrier non-certification. Number one, not having authority. If a carrier does not have authority, they will not even be able to get past the gate. Number two, a conditional or an unsatisfactory safety rating. We cannot, under any circumstance, use a carrier that has either a conditional or an unsatisfactory safety rating. Insufficient insurance amounts. We require $1 million of auto liability and $100,000 of cargo insurance. We may be able to do an override for lower value commodities for the cargo insurance minimum. Inadequate AM Best ratings for the insurance companies. We require a B+ or better. We may be able to provide an override for cargo insurance. No AM Best rating. In that case, we can review the underwriters, the companies that provide the financing to the insurance company, and we can usually approve an insurance company in that case. And finally, a W-9 mismatch. Again, the carrier must enter the W-9 information exactly as they submitted it to the IRS. Otherwise, there will be a mismatch. RMIS is reaching out to the IRS and doing a match. In that case, we will give a 2-week override and ask the carrier to take another try at it. So that's the basics on using RMIS to do carrier setups. We have another video that will show you the carrier experience side. Feel free to take a look at that video, and thanks for listening and watching.